Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. This is Transformation. Transformation is a show that is aimed at building or transforming every individual to become someone better or someone helpful to the society. Today, I have here with me my colleagues and my friends. We'll be talking about a particular subject that is a core subject in the school. It has been taught right from the junior classes down to the highest level of education in the world. We'll be talking about mathematics today. In recent times, we discovered that students lost their interest in mathematics, and we would like to know the causes of that. So today I have with me some of my friends here that will be talking about mathematics and how to improve student performances in the subjects being taught in secondary schools. Mathematics is one of the core subjects. Is a subject that every student, every secondary school student must pass before he or she gets admission into higher institution in Nigeria. So therefore, mathematics is very, very important. So I would like my guests to introduce themselves and then we'll discuss on this topic. Starting from my right, sir. You're welcome.
Welcome, Mr. Benji.
Thank you so much, sir. Your name?
My name is John Mbede Moses. I've been teaching mathematics for close to 15 years.
15 years, that's
I
nice.
currently work in a school in Abuja here
Okay.
at UC2, known as Olomo College.
Okay, that's fine. And you, sir?
My name is Mr. Noah Ojobo from Benue State.
Okay.
And I have NC in economics and mathematics. Mathematics as one of my major courses, and BSc in mathematics from Federal University of Abuja. Thank you, sir.
Wow, that's good. It's a privilege for me to host two great mathematicians with me this morning. I'm highly elated. Thank you for honoring my invitation this morning. Mr. Moses, you say you've been teaching mathematics for 15 years now. You've had close to 15 years. That's impressive. If I may ask, what is mathematics?
Okay, in summary, I wouldn't want to dabble on much words. In summary, I think mathematics is just the science of numbers.
Okay.
It's science of numbers.
Science
It's a
of...
branch of science that deals with numbers.
Okay.
Simply put.
Yeah. Science of numbers. That is what Mr. Moses defined mathematics to be. Let me hear from Mr. Noah what mathematics is.
When you say what is mathematics, we have an endless list of what mathematics is, but because of our time frame, I think mathematics is a Greek word which symbolizes tendency to learn.
Wow.
That shows that mathematics have to do with the logical reasoning, logical thinking, and putting things in order to ascertain a final conclusion.
That's impressive. I think I'm learning something new today. Mathematics has to do with logical thinking. So it has to do with the brains, with calculation, and all of that.
The system have to be working in order to obtain a valid result.
Oh. That's interesting. Wow. That means mathematics must be very, very important in our daily activities.
In all fields,
Definitely.
Okay, so what are the importance of mathematics?
Mathematics. There are a range of importance of mathematics. Mathematics is used mainly. Mathematics is a calculation course and it helps in measurement, for instance.
Okay.
Measurement, when trying to ascertain a figure of something, like time measurement. We have both digital and analog measurement of time.
Okay.
But with the help of mathematics, you can easily tell what quantity is being used. Like there's what we call SI units.
Oh, yes.
Measurement. Like for volume, we say volume is the SI unit of volume is what? Liters or centimeter cube.
Centimeter cube, yes.
Or in other words, it can be used in liter. Like 1,000 centimeter cube makes a liter.
Okay.
So there are so many importance of mathematics. It builds the mind. It helps you to think very fast.
Okay.
Mathematics develops the brain to think very fast. Like most people that are good at mathematics, if you see them, they think very fast and they are reasoning. Even their relationship with you tell that this person is well exposed.
Okay.
It gives you an edge in other subjects. You have an edge in other subjects.
All right. Mr. Moses, you've spoken well. I see. Mr. Noah, he said mathematics has to do with logical thinking,
Yes.
and that is where you're building your point on that it helps the mind to
build the
think,
mind,
to build the
yes,
mind.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
that's important. But if you discover, most students in secondary school, I've come across many of them that are afraid of mathematics.
Yes, they have phobia
Yeah,
for
they have phobia for this mathematics. No, once they hear the word mathematics, they get scared. You understand? So, what do you think, Mr. Noah, could be the cause of that fear for mathematics among students?
So before we could go to the cases of fear or the phobia for mathematics, I want to add to what my colleague has said.
Okay, okay.
When we say the importance of mathematics is in fact the importance is endless. They are numerous.
Okay.
When we talk of the importance of mathematics, it gives the student picture of how the world looks like. Like the building we are now, it talks of it is pointing about different shapes, it's pointing about different triangles and other. So when we talk of importance of mathematics, in fact, the list is was endless, of which if we see that there is no way we can exhaust.
Okay,
Thank you,
okay. That means mathematics is so important and useful in our daily activities. Okay, okay. Now, talking about the performances of students in mathematics. Now, with your experiences that you have so far in mathematics as a passionate mathematics teacher, I know you people love mathematics. So what have you observed about the performances of students in mathematics, Mr. Noah?
Yeah, the performance of students in mathematics is sometimes it is monotonic increasing and monotonic decreasing. Why do I say so? When you try to make a simple analysis or comparison between the last WAEC result that was released and compare with that of 2013 and 2014, you will see that the performance of students in some of those exams, specifically in mathematics, is in fact it is alarming. These students are actually doing their best, but I think there is still a good way out in order to boost the performance of these students in mathematics. I can say that it is not easy at all. These students are actually putting in their best in order to come out with flying colors. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Are you saying in essence that the performances of students in mathematics is decreasing with time or it is increasing?
You see, I think the recent result that was just released, I think this student it's increasing. I think from my data analysis and from my research, I think it is up to 78% that pass both, including mathematics and English. So when you compare it with 2016 and 2015, see that the performance is very, very poor compared to what we have. I think the students are actually, the performance is encouraging. It is actually encouraging. Okay. I think they can also do more in it.
Wow, wow. Over to you, sir. I hope you heard what Mr. Noah said. Do you agree with what he said, that the performances of students increases with time?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm in full agreement with what you just said.
Okay.
The performance has been on the increase. There is no decline in the performance of students in mathematics.
Okay.
If you check the results, you discover, even before the result, let's talk about the environment of learning, the facilities they have. Prior to this time, back then when we did ours in about 2 decades ago, most people fail maths because they are not well exposed to materials. That's one of the major reasons why people fail mathematics. Now, if you see, there are so many apps you can quickly access with your phone, and students of this age, this is a digital age. They have access to all forms of resources. They can easily access any topic they want to learn online. There can be online training for maths. Then there was nothing like the internet was not available as at that time when we did ours.
Yes.
So we relied solely on our textbooks. But now students have access to varieties of resources
yes.
to learn maths.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But I think mathematics, if we want to really boost performance of students, there are so many factors affecting student performance why they don't do well in mathematics.
Okay.
Like in our
but before you get to that factor now, you talk about the reasons why the performance of students have been
improved.
increasing.
Yes.
Understand, based on the resources that they can access at the tip of their fingers. It is not like that in those days. Now, so Mr. Noah, in regards to that, how how available are those resources to students? I know in some schools now, students are not allowed to use some technologies like phones and others. So, how are students been able to cope with issues like that? Mr. Noah?
You see, from what you've just said, you see there is a decline when we talk of mathematical equipment for these students to access. Like where I taught Greater Tomorrow Academy, you notice that sometimes you want to project a topic which needs you to do some things that are visual from this student to see. And because of inability of the government to provide this or the school to provide this, say they have shortcoming in some of these things. Like when you are about to take a topic, let's assume you want to take a topic like construction work. You know, this construction work, you need something, it is not this our usual mathematical set that we use. You need something that is very bold, that is something that is very plain for the student to see it, and everything will be visual based on what they are seeing. I think we have some of the shortcomings in some of these mathematical tools or equipment we use to carry out our teaching effectively.
It's all right. It's all right. Okay. You want to add?
Yes, I would like to add to what you just
Okay,
said.
sir.
I'll say I disagree to some extent as regards what you just said.
Okay.
Compared to years back, there was nothing like the internet.
Yes. Absolutely.
Years back, we relied on hard copy. There was no soft copy for us to learn from. If you notice, even at the moment in schools, like when I was in the university, I had no access to internet that much. But if you go to most schools now in Nigeria, you discover they have access to internet. There's Wi-Fi in the school. You can easily access to do research on any topic of your choice.
Yes.
Now, if you check, like I said earlier on, this is a digital age. Students have access to Android phones. They can easily pick up their phones to access the internet, to source for materials. And if you notice, there are even more instructional aids to teach now than before. In those days, we don't have access to such a thing. Now they've improvised. If you check, like construction is made mention of. If you are teaching construction now, we have access to compass. Like if you are using a whiteboard or a chalkboard, you can use a big compass and project whatever you want to teach.
Yes.
There are rulers to mark your board and so many things. You have graph sheets, you have graph board now.
Okay.
But back then there was nothing like that.
Okay.
So now I believe there are more teaching aids to boost student understanding.
All right. All right. So that is
Sorry, sir. There is something he said which I'm not trying to disagree with what he said. He said that students have access to some of this material, like he made mention of the internet. Now, my issue now is, we live in a digital device world.
Yeah.
What do I mean? Some people have access to it, while some don't have access to it. And those that have access to it are those that came from rich family.
Okay.
Why do I say so? Sometimes the data and you use to access some of these things are not there for these children.
It's all right. You've known that student performance have increased over the years due to some factors, the easy access to some instructional materials and some teaching aids. So that have actually increased the performance of students in mathematics in recent years. Now, we were talking about some of this, despite the availability of all those materials and the teaching aids that we have, there are some students that still don't want mathematics. Do you understand? They don't like mathematics. They don't want to study mathematics. When they hear mathematics, they get scared. They have this phobia for mathematics. So, in the case of a student like that, you being a mathematics teacher, how do you encourage or advise or go about with that kind of student?
Okay. Now, if you look at that aspect, before you teach a child, the first thing you should do logically is to assess the child.
Okay.
To assess his thinking. Where is this child coming from? Where are the weaknesses from? Now, to do that, before that time, you have to create a conducive environment around that child. You don't have to make the child scared of you. We have to be careful of our diction, our choice of words. Try to make that child your friend.
Okay.
Be friendly. If a child is not friendly to you, a child cannot learn from you. If you're always putting a strict face, you have to be flexible. If you're always putting a strict face, the child will definitely be scared of you and definitely they won't be interested in that subject matter.
Yes.
So what our advice is create a conducive environment.
Okay.
Be friendly to the child. Whatever is coming from you, that child will be all ears to learn from you. Or in a situation whereby you are just strict, you are harsh, and our choice of words. Like if you tell a child, most of these children, why they have phobia for mathematics is based on their previous knowledge. Maybe the teacher that once taught them instilled fear in them or made them feel that math is difficult, you can never know it. But once you make a child your friend, I have a friend. There was this child he was teaching, and the teaching aid I talked about. Now, there was this child, he was teaching mathematics. This child was not doing well. He said anytime he comes, the child will be angry. So I said, come, what do you think this child likes? He said the child likes game. I said there are so many mathematical games online you could download to make him love math.
Okay.
Like there are so many videos online. If you go to there are so many links. Khan Academy can get so many videos to entice the child with. So once the child is operating on the system and he's seeing these things as game, he's learning maths as well. So
It's all right. It's all right. So with those things, you can be able to bring that child into loving mathematics.
yes.
Can we get your opinion, Mr. Miller?
Yes, actually, before you imbibe this love for mathematics in a child, number one, in a school setting or in a classroom setting, you have to consider the domain of those children. That is to say, you consider the psychomotor domain, the affective domain, and other domains that are involved.
Okay.
That is to say, for this to be put into, for this to be effective, number one, you must have to be careful with the teaching methodology. See, this has been one of the major reasons why students hate the subject called mathematics.
Okay.
Let's take, for example, you want to introduce a topic like simultaneous linear equation. And we have different methods of which we can use to ascertain the result in which we are looking for. Number one is either you use the eliminating method or use the substitution method. If it is in the advanced level, we could be talking of the matrix and the determinant method of solving it. So
Yeah.
you try to imbibe different teaching methods so that if a student is a slow learner in one of the teaching methods, definitely he or she can capture the other side of the method.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Noah. You brought out something very, very key to learning mathematics or improving the performance of students in mathematics. You talk about the teaching method. I mean, the methodology. It is very, very important. Now, you know that mathematics is more of abstract. It is not something you can feel and touch. When it comes to biology, sciences like biology, there are some practicals you run and you see it live. But in mathematics, it has to do with logical thinking, like it is abstract, something that you cannot see. So, what method can you use to teach something that is looking abstract to the student that they cannot understand? What method can you apply that means?
Okay, let me go with that. Now, if you want to, there's what we call you have to visualize maths.
Okay.
Visualization.
Okay.
You have to create scenes to make this thing very real. Like for instance, if you are teaching, let's say fraction, for instance, you are teaching fraction, a child in primary school, lower or upper primary, if you are teaching fraction, let's say the types of fraction. Now you can make use of examples that will immortalize these thoughts in that child, whichever child you are teaching. Like for instance, you want to give examples of improper fraction, proper fraction, mixed fraction. Like for now, if you want to give an example to a child that is just coming up in math, you can say, "Come up, my child, come. You and I, who is bigger? If you are carrying me on your shoulders, is it proper or improper? If you carry me on your shoulder, definitely you fall because I'm bigger than you.
Yes.
You understand? Definitely you fall. But if I'm carrying you on my shoulder, I'll stand. That can easily give the child a figure as in a view of what proper and improper seems like. That child will hardly forget the examples because when I say if I'm carrying on my shoulders, I'm bigger than you, so I'm down, it's proper. So that you tell them that's proper fraction, for instance. When the smaller number, the bigger number is under, and the denominator is bigger than the numerator.
Yes.
Sorry for that oversight.
Yes, I noticed that.
Now, if you give them visual representation, make them think, create an image. Now, if you want to teach a subject like, let's say, you want to teach probability, you call them, you tell them about chance. They all know about coin, they all know about dice, they've been playing games like Ludo, you want to teach. So things like instructional materials, you have to make judicious use of instructional materials to help you visualize math. If that is not done, if you just walk to the board and there's no instructional material, the students will be bored.
It's all right. So what you're saying in essence is for us to teach mathematics being an abstract. Most of the topics are more of abstract. Sometimes in secondary schools, the student will be asking, this thing that the teacher is teaching, where are we applying it? We don't even know how or where to apply it. So therefore, we don't give more attention to that. We only learn it or try to know it just to pass exams because we don't know where to apply. Mr. Noah, so based on that now, the method that he mentioned, he talked about visualizing mathematics. Okay, so what opinion do you have over that?
Okay, when we were in secondary school, then we were informed that mathematics is abstract, you can't see it. But I think these days, based on my research and my work so far, I've come to realize that mathematics is real, it's no longer abstract. Now, let's say, for example, when you want to teach a topic like statistics, you see, you can't just say statistics can be defined as a collection of data, analyzing of data, summarizing of data, and in this case now, for you to make this to look real and to look practical, tell them, go to neighboring schools, ask them the name of the teacher, the name of the staff, the number of students in the class. In doing that, you are collecting data. Or you tell them, you just try to make it in a such a way that they will be able to picture it that it's no longer something that is abstract.
All right.
As a result of that, they are carrying out concept.
Okay, so now mathematics has to be made real for students to understand and get interest. Okay, now let's talk about student perception in external exams. You know, when it comes to external exams, every student have this kind of phobia, whether they'll pass or not. In Nigeria, the most common external exams that we write is WAEC and NECO. Okay, so and I believe so much that students have been performing wonderfully well in this subject. So now, as a mathematics teacher, how do you try to do away or make students do away with that negative perception or that fear that they have for external exams? Let me start with you, Mr. Noah.
You see, one of the major problems that students are having concerning the fear for mathematics, as long as WAEC is concerned, they always tell them people are not making it, but still people are making it. Now, one of the ways that you can make students to lay down this fear is there, as long as WAEC is concerned, you tell them to study. Okay. You see, one of the major problems we have some set of lazy students who are not ready to study. I remember during my time to go for exams like mathematics, you see we study overnight, we burn candle, we go for extra classes in order to make sure that we are able to come out with a good grade. Because students nowadays, they don't read. So the only thing we do is that we encourage them to study past questions. Okay. We encourage them to go for tutorial classes. We encourage them to make sure that they solve some of the exercises, solve them. Why don't have any new thing to bring? Rather, they keep repeating question and question. And from that, you see, they have to come out with flying colors and to lose that phobia that people don't make it in life.
It's all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Moses. So, Mr. Noah talked about studying mathematics. Like we have said initially, that mathematics is more abstract. Now, how can students study mathematics? It is not like a storybook that you can pick and be reading. Instead has to do with practical solving questions, isn't it? So how do students create that time to be solving that questions, or how many numbers of questions can they solve? In my secondary school, my teacher told me that if you leave mathematics for one day, mathematics will leave you for 1 week.
Even 1 month. 1 month.
So if you leave mathematics for one day, to leave you for 1 week. So how long will a student continue studying mathematics to get used to it?
Now, what I advise students to do, like those that are about taking external exams, what I advise them to do, like I do tell my students, constant repetition enhances retention. The moment you do something over and over again, that thing gets to be part of you. Like, let me take an instance. If you check the two letter word IT is what? It.
Yes.
If you put a B in front of it, that's beat. If you put A, that's a beat. If you add H, that is what? Habit. Now, everything in life forms that way. If you want to if you want to imbibe in yourself a good attitude, you do it gradually before it becomes part of you. Now, if you want to shed off a bad attitude, how do you do it? You do it gradually too, and you shed it off. If you want to do most of these things instantaneously, you end up killing yourself.
Okay.
So what I advise is they practice, like he said it all. They need to practice constantly. It's not as if you have to bombard yourself with too many questions. But one line has to be drawn. Most of the students we have, it comes from the teacher in class control, class management. If a child is in class, most of them get themselves distracted in class. They like sitting next to their friends.
Okay.
So when a teacher is teaching, they get distracted. At the end of the day, they go to school without learning anything. So if a child gets the concept in class, when it's time to practice, you spend less time practicing. But if you don't get the concept in class, when it's time for you to practice, you spend hours trying to understand the concept first before you can start solving questions. So like he said, I'm in total agreement with him. They should solve more questions, expose themselves to questions. Once you are well read, once you've studied well, I see no reason why you should be scared taking any external exam. That phobia will definitely diminish.
It's okay, thank you.
Sorry, sir.
Okay,
Sir,
you want to add?
in addition to what he said, from the points here, number one is here he says practice at least 4 questions in a week.
Like day.
Like I mean practice at least 4 days a week. Like
Okay,
4 days
in a week. You have to practice
yes.
mathematics.
It's not like
is it in different subjects or a particular subject that you're taught, or it just gets randomly get questions
No, like
randomly
what you
or
do
past
is,
questions. Yeah.
if a topic is treated in class,
yeah.
once a topic is treated,
yeah.
once you get on, what you do is you look for questions on that topic.
Yes, relating to that.
You practice.
Yes.
You solve. If anyone is proving not your difficult, you can easily walk up to your teacher the following day. Sir, I was trying to solve this, I couldn't get it.
Yeah.
That's the way you learn math.
Okay.
If you don't practice after, even in class, if you feel you've understood the concept and you don't practice, you won't do well in math.
Sure.
That room for practice.
You've been a teacher for years now. Have any student walked up to you and tell you that, okay, teacher, I've practiced it at home, but I still don't understand. Can you help me out? I tried solving it, but I didn't get the right answer. What is the way out? Have any student approached you like that?
In fact, of course, students that actually imbibe that kind of habit, they are always the best in the class.
Okay.
And one thing is that when you attend to such students, don't feel this student is stressing me. Don't feel guys. They are just no. At least you bring them closer, show them the way. From there, they tend to what to love it.
Okay, thank you. We're almost coming to the conclusion of this discussion. But briefly, before we go, do you think teacher is also a factor that contributes to the negative or positive performance of students in mathematics?
Yes, we cannot actually draw the conclusion that teachers are the causes or the cause of poor performances in mathematics. No, if we are to elaborate in it, teachers are the cause, number one. The society is also the cause, number two, and the government also is part of it. Let's just limit it because you are saying the teacher. Now, in this case now, we can say teachers are the cause of this. Why do I say so? You can't imagine a graduate that studied electrical engineering. Yes, he may be vast in mathematics. That doesn't qualify him or her to come to the teaching profession, and mathematics will be given to such person to to handle. No matter how intelligent you are, the methodology and the way in which you are going to pass out this subject called mathematics will be totally different. So we can say teachers or the management also are also the part in which the students are having poor performance.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Noah. Do you have any saying
Yes,
concerning that?
I have something to say as regards what you just said. Yes, I agree. If you are not trained as a teacher, it's wrong for you to dabble into teaching. I agree with that aspect. But once you get qualifications of education, let's say you didn't do education initially, then you
Yes.
probably did your PhD in education.
Okay.
You understand? And you get the license to teach.
Right.
Once you have that, now in the course of you doing your PhD, you must have been taught so many things about it. Like you made mention of domain, there are basically three domains. You have the psychomotor, you have the cognitive, and you have the affective. If you are well read during your PhD, you learn guidance and counseling, you learn so many psychology of education and so many. You get introduced into the teaching profession. Now there's nothing like, as the world is going, there's nothing like I add this qualification and I have to work in that qualification. Do you get what I'm talking
Yes, I
about?
understand.
Like the IT, for instance, if you check, IT is one of the best jobs, and the IT jobs are one of the best jobs in the world. Why? If you check, anybody can dabble into IT. Once you're in IT, once you have a qualification in IT, you can easily dabble into the IT sector and do what you excel to no length. You have engineering student graduate dabbling into accounting. They do well, they do very well in accounting.
Okay.
So I won't want to agree with that fact that an engineer cannot teach mathematics. No. What I'm saying is, once a graduate of engineering is well grounded in mathematics, but to be able to deliver, you need a training to help you
Yes. Educational
balance,
background.
and education background is
Yes.
needed.
Yes.
Without that, you can't teach mathematics, and you need the license too.
Yeah.
Once you are certified to teach, definitely teaching is something you do effortlessly. Believe you me, sincerely speaking, most of the people who did education never planned to teach. They never wanted to do education. I've been to several interviews. I'm sorry to say, I've been to several interviews, and I take interviews with interviewing session with different graduates from different schools who did education, or they perform below expectation.
So, let me cut you short. Sorry to continue short. Do you think teaching is a habit or it is developed? Do you think teaching is is teaching inborn? It is something that somebody came with, is born with, or it is something that one can actually learn?
Teaching, like you said, teaching is innate, it's inborn, and it can be learned too. You understand? There's nothing you can't learn if you put your mind to it. But it's inborn. To have the passion for teaching, like what made me to dabble into teaching is over the years I've done things the wrong way. So it pricks me when I see the younger generation making the same mistakes we made growing up. So I like correcting them not to make the mistakes we made. You understand? So that brought me into teaching, and I love correcting children. Teaching is like guiding, creating a pathway for these children, being a role model to them, telling them the do's and don'ts. This is what you will do if you want to get this. This is what you do if you don't want to get this. Guiding them around. So it's inborn. I agree with that aspect, but it can be learned too.
All right.
It's both innate and it can be learned.
Okay, thank you so much
Sorry,
for.
sir, for cutting.
I'm coming over to
Okay,
you,
sir.
Sanua. I know you have a lot to say,
Yeah.
but our time is going actually.
Okay.
But then he said many things about teaching and how to improve it. Now, what are the ways? We are running to the conclusion now.
Yeah.
What are the ways of improving mathematics among secondary school students or students generally?
Yes. My number one point here is you must be what? Must be punctual in class.
Okay.
In fact, that punctuality is very, very important. When a teacher is introducing a topic and you are not there, you are not there. And once you miss it from the foundation there is no way you will get it again. So punctuality is what is very, very what important. The number 2 point which I'm having here is never give up.
Never give. Okay.
No matter the number of questions you have been solving, you go through the back of the textbook, you can't get it. Just keep doing it. Because as you keep solving and you keep doing it, the memory sticks to the brain. And another way is what? You discuss or you teach your mates fact, one of the things that makes us to be best in during my own time is we gather ourselves and I take the lead to teach others. Because when you teach others, yours, in fact, the memory is forever there. The step is forever there. Even somebody will wake you up morning, afternoon, evening, you need to do it because you have been teaching your word, your mate. And the final point before my colleague could take other point is you make it what as an habit. You see, when you take mathematics, you take it as an habit, things that you cannot do without. You know, you do it morning, afternoon, evening. In fact, when I was even doing my own, some person will say, this way, is it that you don't have anything doing? Is it that you don't go out to have fun? No, we do have fun. But the pressing issue is mathematics at the end of the day. So we take it as
all right. He has listed so many points that one can follow in order to improve his performance in mathematics. Now, Mr. Moses, to you, talking about improving the mathematics, you talk about making it an habit, like practicing questions often and often. And there's this kind of laziness among students. You know, when you get back from school, many students don't have time to practice mathematics. Some are lazy in doing that. They don't get it. They don't take it something interesting. So in order to improve mathematics among students, how can one do away with that laziness in them? Like students doing away with that laziness in them.
And there's this popular quote that where there is a will, there is a way.
Okay. Yes.
And for a student to do away with such lazy attitude, I advise firstly they should be determined.
Okay.
Like growing up, I was encouraged by so many quotes I saw, so many motivational talks I was given. Like I used to have phobia for space. I was acrophobic.
Okay.
You understand? But I came across a book by Bob Gass. He said the best way to fight your fears is to do what? Face it. You understand? You face it head on. Is it that this thing kills me, I overcome it? You don't give up. Like he said, he made mention of so many key points. Those are key points if you really want to improve in mathematics. So what I advise they do is they tell themselves they want to improve. There should be a will, that spirit. I want to do this.
Yes, but there's a
I want
way.
to be good at this. I want to check this thing off. I don't want laziness. You understand? That student has to be determined. And above all, like my law of success states that success is directly proportional to determination and hard work, provided the fear of God is kept constant.
Exactly.
So you have to be determined,
Sir.
you have to be hardworking, and above all, the fear of God.
Okay.
Nothing goes come easy. You have to rely so much on God.
Wow,
So
wow,
God
wow.
tries to be introduced.
Thank you for your opinions. It has been wonderful, and I believe this is going to help every student or anybody that listens to this brief talk. The best way to tackle your fear is to face it. Now, you see, mathematics is an abstract subject. It is not concrete. It doesn't seem real, but mathematics is real because everything that is being done in our lives has to do with calculations. Even when you sleep, you calculate. Anything you do, you eat, you calculate. So mathematics is real. So don't be afraid. Do not have this phobia for mathematics. Just fight it because you can do it. Now, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.